These are the demands of the students at Columbia who have smashed their way into Hamilton Hall, taken over the building, barricaded it by force. They have demands. This is about a minute long. You just need to hear what they have to say.
Why should the university be obligated to provide food to people who've taken over a building?
Well, first of all, we're saying that they're obligated to provide food to students who pay for a meal plan here.
But you mentioned that there was a request that food and water be brought in, unless I misunderstood.
To allow it to be brought in. I mean, well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? If the answer is no, then you should allow basic, I mean, it's crazy to say because we're on an Ivy League campus, but this is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water?
But they did put themselves in that very deliberately, in that situation and in that position. So it seems like you're sort of saying, we want to be revolutionaries, we want to take over this building. Now would you please bring us food and water?
Nobody's asking them to bring anything. We're asking them to not violently stop us from bringing in basic humanitarian aid.
They're stopping the delivery of food?
We are looking for a commitment from them that they will not stop it.
They're not even doing it?
I don't know to what extent it has been attempted, but we're looking for a commitment.
Okay, look.
Embarrassing.
Very embarrassing. We demand food and water because we pay for it. But you've taken over a building. Now you want to play revolutionary and have them bring you food? No. We're just saying they shouldn't stop us from doing it. Has anyone stopped you? No. But what are their demands?
Well, they want Columbia to divest, and I'm not even sure any of them could explain that to you. From Israel, and I don't know anything else they come up with.
The only thing I could steelman it, and they're not even saying this because they haven't thought it through, is to prevent Jewish students from coming there and to stop partnering with Jewish universities on research projects. But nobody said that, so they don't know what their aims are.
No, they don't.
There aren't any. Let's be real. One, I think it's fair to call a lot of it just general communism. Only this. What are those scarves called?
Keffiyeh.
Keffiyeh? Yeah, it's communism wrapped in a keffiyeh.
Yeah.
That's all it is. They have no idea what they're talking about. They have no demands. They smashed out windows, took over a building, and they're spray painting things. It's just fire. This is just a fire. It is chaotic destruction with no aim. It spreads. That's all it does. There's nothing here.
And in some ways, taking over the building to me seems like the leaders of this organization are really losing control of what's going on. The fact that they know they have the eyes of the world on them. Over the weekend, a lot of protests that are similar broke out among college-age students in Paris and in Europe.
Wait, really? In Europe?
Yeah, they've been replicated.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're trendy. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I mean, it's the same. The BLM riots were breaking out all over Europe and stuff. And there was
George Floyd's
literally
face was
no
everywhere.
reason for it. Like, the context of the United States and the United States situation between the black population and the rest of the population, and then the history and stuff, that is unique to the United States. It is not the same in the UK. It's not the same in the rest of Europe. So the idea of having BLM in other places is kind of ridiculous.
Right. And so with these students, they know they have momentum right now. They know they're supposed to do something. They also know they're facing pressure outside. And I think probably it's just getting hot. They don't want to sit out there anymore.
Oh,
so
yeah,
they take over the building. They have no plan. They aren't getting groceries delivery. This isn't a strategic thing. I think they're all sort of trying to climb on top of this snowball as it continues to roll down the hill. But the thing is, so theoretically, if Columbia has any of its endowment tied up in an Israeli business, Columbia could say, okay, we'll remove the money from that. But I doubt any of these students could name it. I doubt they would say, hey, stop taking money from Jewish donors. I don't think they could even name one.
Look, Columbia, I'm going to solve your problem right now. You don't got to do anything. Here's what you do. Columbia should come out and be like, for the safety and well-being of these students, we're going to make sure that no one stops them from getting food or water. Turn off the air conditioning.
Or the Wi-Fi. Turn off the Wi-Fi. And this is the thing. Columbia has locked its campus so only essential personnel and students who live there, so who live in other dormitories attached to the campus, can go on. But they're about to break for the summer. Just turn off the Wi-Fi. Let's see how long this goes when all of these people can't get their orders from Twitter. Yeah, but if you have enough, university buildings, in my experience, often are terrible with service anyways. I just think that, there is a certain level of how much longer can this go on. This is why I pose the question every night. Does this get more intense when more college students are free during the summer to sort of run to Hamilton Hall, which I guess they've renamed after a child that died in Gaza? You know, are they gonna have reinforcements from outside university students who find this really inspiring? Or is it going to be like, well, they wouldn't let us get food from the bodega, and campus meal service is over, so we have to go home now? Like,
there's a
where
funny
does this
video.
go?
There's a video where they're like handing styrofoam meal things from like one of those halal carts. You guys ever have the halal cart stuff in New York City?
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. That's what I miss about New York City. They do like the grilled chicken and rice, and then they put the tzatziki or whatever all over it.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're like sticking them through the bars and holding the bars as if they're in jail, and it's just like a fence. It's like, dude, you can stand up. Like, I don't. It's
No, Tim, they're suffering.
This is college age cops and robbers.
Yeah.
They're playing make believe because they're bored and they have no purpose. Idle hands, the devil's playground.
This is the symptom of like the new or this century though. Like there's so many people that have latched on to causes and said, we're the first person to do this. And then you go and you look at something that happened in the 70s or 80s and find out that it was, the first person did it 30, 40 years ago. Talking about, it happens on PCC frequently. For some reason, female actresses think that Terminator didn't exist. They think that like women never were in action movies in the 80s and stuff.
Oh, right. Alien, Terminator, Hunger
Games. They
Games.
talk like they're I think it was...
Kristen Stewart was one of them. When she said Charlie's Angels, this is the first time we've had a female action movie.
Yeah, and she's like, what planet are you on? And I feel like that happens a lot now. It's like a lot of people that are talking about the activism and stuff like that. It's like, look, man, like, the Civil Rights Act, that happened in the 60s, right? And things have been getting better since then. We are not at like the worst time in U.S. history for race relations.
Well, I've referred to this as an autoimmune disorder of society, in that racism, bad, civil rights, good. And we come from a generation of people who fought for civil rights. And, my parents lived early in, before the Civil Rights Act, before Loving v. Virginia, deeply affected my family 2 generations. And so I'm raised and they're like, these things are bad. We do not like these things. Millennials grow up and it's like redlining existed, but we got rid of that in the 80s. The remnants of it still exist. We all agree. And we're working towards improving these things. But we've kind of policy-wise been like, yeah, we're going to stop this race-based stuff. And now you have 30-year-old millennials who are screaming about how bad racism is because they were taught as young kids it is. And there's no racism. So what do? They make it up. Then there's activist organizations that make it on purpose to make money. So now they've created the Ibram Kendi style of racism, which is, as Kendi said, you have to, what did he say? He wants more discrimination to rectify past discrimination. And that's what they're doing now, because it's like an autoimmune disorder, in a sense. Hey, we're fighting for good things, civil rights and liberties, but now that there's nothing to fight, they just begin attacking random institutions, canceling people, destroying industry, and causing damage to the host culture.
Well, I see 2 things in this. So with this group of student activists in particular, I just see a temper tantrum from someone thrown in their 20s. And I say that with some scorn, but also some sympathy, because these kids, the millennials and Gen Zs, are the first set of kids to be raised like by institutions and the internet. So if they don't feel a direct attachment to their own parents, in many cases a direct resentment to them, then they're going to try and find tribal identities in their peer groups. And if you set the luxury belief of I support anti-colonialism in a country I can't even point to on a map as the gatekeeping mechanism, then they'll all be drawn to it because they have no one in their personal lives saying, hey, I love you, put the phone down and come spend some time with me. So I just see this as them being like, I'm going to lock myself in the living room to play Xbox because you also still slide dinner under the door. That's
feels similar.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
Turn off the air conditioning and the protest ends. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, though. But just to reiterate, they're outside intense. Just the other day, it was 92 degrees here. And it sucks because it was pretty wild. Like 2 days ago, it was really cold.
Well, and
it was like high 50s. And, I come in the studio, I'm like, it is freezing in here, and we can't figure out to get the heat on. And a day later, it's 92. And now I can't even open the door. I love having the door open behind me. You can't see it. You're right behind me. There's that big, how do I point to it? There you go, right there. You see that? Normally, we could have that open. but it's so hot out. Well, so these kids are in their tents, sweating their asses off, and they're like, someone needs to go in the building.
Everybody's butt stinks.
Yep.
Yuck.
They wanted bathrooms too.
Ew.
So they're like, I know, let's take over the building and demand food.
Was listening to this interview today with someone who was there at the protest, and it was pro-Palestine. And she was saying, it's just, this is a really important cause. And also it's finals right now. So people are really stressed. Like they do believe they should be afforded the right to act like regular university students while they stage this protest that, again, is disruptive to the entire university system. I'm not against them protesting, but let's be logical here. If you're going to choose to protest and to break into a building, probably the school won't like it and there will be consequences. I mean, this is not that hard. I can't believe all of you got into Columbia. Oh, wait, yes, I can, because Ivy League universities in America lower their standards constantly to try and reach this diversity quota, which they have imposed on themselves, which, by the way, got you to this protest. I mean,
there's a Roz alert saying that 8 minutes ago, breaking, the NYPD expects to receive a letter from Columbia University requesting them to clear out the protesters from the encampment within the next hour or two, as alerts have also been sent to the students instructing them to shelter in place. So this is going down.
All right, well,
shortly.
We will bring you that news live on Timcast IRL.
Hopefully it's awesome too.
Well, look, the law will be enforced, and we will back the blue on this one, baby.
I just want it to be exciting.
I just want to point out, and I think I said this briefly last night, I don't think this is happening at Hillsdale, one of the only privately funded universities in America, right? I don't think that even a university that has even a sliver of conservative students, this is happening on this level. I think for the most part, it's happening at large universities that have an established, very integrated woke population that believes in progressive causes to an extent that becomes illogical.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.